Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings. Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations, a weekly podcast from Practical E-Commerce, hosted by entrepreneur Eric Bandholz.
What is going on, Internet? Eric Bandholz back again with another E-Commerce Conversations. I hope all is going well on the other side of the Internet. On the other side of the table from me, Ryan.
What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Thanks for the ride.
He's in from Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a longtime listener to E-Commerce Conversations, you may have remembered a conversation I had with Ryan and Andy Snavely.
Yeah.
It had to have been like 2019. I don't even know the date, but
Before COVID. Yeah, it was a while ago.
oh, was it really? Jeez. Yeah, so definitely 2019 when I did my 20-part series on how to grow and sell a business.
Mm-hmm.
Has a lot changed in 4 years?
I would say so. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, because you were still doing show back then, right?
Yeah, I think that was kind of, yes. But that was when show was more content based and a side project. So it wasn't a business yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy to think. So you were, for those who don't know, why don't you give our listeners a quick recap of what you do?
Sure. So full name's Ryan Hunter Masters. I go by Hunter on Show Her Off, and that's because that's my middle name. And with the Show Her Off brand, I help men sweep women off their feet. So I teach couples how to dance at home in their living room. It's preferable they have no experience. You don't need any experience. So it cures two left feet. The trade-off for catch is like, I'm not going to turn you into a professional dancer. I'm not going to get you on Dancing with the Stars, but I will teach you how to dance with your partner in less than 60 minutes and have her smiling and laughing. And more importantly, having couples feel close together, connected together, and that intimacy that, got them started in this day and age where, we're just spending a lot of times looking at screens or watching Netflix and not engaging.
I was in Terlingua, Texas, West Texas, right above Big Bend National Park. For those who don't know the town, I wouldn't expect you to know the town, at a chili contest. And every night they had like live music and it was kind of like country music. And all I was thinking about was like, man, Ryan would be like in his element because it is like more country music. Right?
No, actually
really?
It's not. Yeah. So it's what I teach is social swing dancing. And that's one of the nice things. Again, it's entry level. I call it social swing. You can also call it amateur dancing. It's not professional dancing, but because it's social swing dancing, you can dance it to any music. So I have couples use this. Lots of couples use it for their first dance, and you have everything from, hip hop, pop, classic rock, country, like the whole gamut. You can dance to any genre you can dance to with this style of dance, which is why it's so popular and why it's so easy. And again, the trade-off is it's not going to make you professional. So a lot of couples who've never danced will start with this program. Most of them will be just happy with what they learned there and just use that when they're going to weddings or to events like you just went to. But some catch the dance fever, the dance bug, and they're like, oh, wow, this is a lot of fun. And then they take the jump to a local studio, not mine, but go to a local dance studio. I don't have a studio, and learn one-on-one with an instructor to learn professional dancing. So you got, professional two-step or West Coast swing or salsa or bachata. Those are all dances that require knowing the beat and being on count to do it correctly. Whereas what I teach, you don't have to know those things to just get started and have fun. Because the goal of what I teach is to have fun and give couples the confidence to go step out on the dance floor and look good.
Is there a business model in that referral from kind of entry level to a local dance studio?
Honestly, I don't think so. I mean, of course there probably could be, but the way I look at it is like, I want to support the dance community. And so I don't need a referral. If somebody gets excited and then I recommend them to somebody or they find them on their own, it would be too, like, because dance studios are individually owned and this and that. And then the headache of managing. Yeah, there are a couple chains, but I just don't, that doesn't excite me. So I don't get into that.
Yeah. So let's talk about this because this is a business that I would describe as like a lifestyle business. It's for you. It's not this unicorn business you're trying to grow and sell. Or I assume you're not trying to
No. I mean, if someone, if Netflix came around and said, hey, I've always wondered, especially during COVID, I'm like, oh, is Netflix or Amazon Prime going to grab me just because it was so popular then? But yeah, probably because I'm the face of the brand. So I don't know if that would happen. I'm always open to it, but I'm certainly not seeking it out.
Yeah. And the product is entirely digital?
Yes. Yeah, I do still offer DVDs because people ask, but everything is accessed through the app.
I feel like that is the best e-commerce business. Like infinitely scalable, no operational headaches.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously you have to produce the content.
Right. But, and there's different infrastructure headaches, but the thing is, and I deal with this because I sell DVDs and I have streaming access, but the difference is just the ability to fix and provide solutions is 10 times faster. Because if someone, for example, for whatever reason, like, I don't know, the app's not working and they can't get their login, well, they can talk to us right away and we can update their login, problems fixed in 5 minutes. Or like absolute emergency, some reason the app crashes, like, because I don't manage the app, it's another company, I can send them a private YouTube link, unlock the channel, say, hey, here, temporarily you can do this. Versus if somebody gets a DVD and it's scratched or it doesn't work, it's like, okay, I'll send you a new DVD, but it's going to take a couple of days.
Yeah. Are people still buying DVDs?
Yeah. I'm not as many, it's like 20%, 10% buying them. And it's honestly something I'm just going to hide the option or reduce it because it's
what
just
point
creates
do you
more
just
headaches and it's not worth it,
Yeah, because I mean, like your costs on that are pretty high.
Yeah, compared to the streaming. And then just, like during Christmas, it gets lost in the mail because it is shipped via USPS, which is, I have a different DVD a vendor handles all that. So I can't say ship at UPS or this. So, it's very opposite of what I live by, which is 80-20, like 80% of the results come from 20% of the stuff. Focus on that.
Shut it down, man.
No, I can't shut it down because that goes 80-20 the other way, because then I'm going to get the 5 people who want DVDs every day are going to comment and be like, why don't you have a DVD? My customer support bandwidth is going to go up just answering questions about where's the DVD. So there is the happy medium of like, I'll have it on the page. It's not prominent. The people who really want it will find it and everybody else can just go along their way.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. One of the things that I feel is ingrained in a lot of entrepreneurs is this incredible drive to grow and grow and grow and grow. And obviously you've grown and you found success, but how do you keep it to where it's just you and your sister running the company?
And my cousin, and your part-time.
Are they're both part-time team members?
My sister's full-time salaried, and then my cousin is part-time contractor, which works well for both of them because they're stay-at-home moms or they want to be stay-at-home. Like they want to stay at home to raise their kids because their children are all under 3 or 4 years old. So they get to, do both lives. Sarah helps with customer support and does all the video content and posting for social media. And then my cousin helps with customer support and social media.
So they're essentially doing the same thing. There's 2 of them. Do you, because they're family members, how is that relationship? I assume you're not like a crack in the whip and setting really high KPIs and, kind of, how do you manage that team?
Well, I tell Sarah she has to tell me every day that I'm the best brother in the world or else she's fired. No, before I hired either of them, my first business was with my dad, which was a family furniture company. And it was his business. I started a separate one and then we merged, but it was working with family. And I always said to myself for that business, and it's the same for Sarah and my cousin, family always comes first. So if for whatever reason, the business is hurting, regardless of if it's something they did intentionally, accidentally, or it's pay for 6 months for them to find another job. Just no ill will or poison is allowed, period. That's just in the front of my mind. I don't care about the business if it's going to damage the relationship with either of them. And they're great. I mean, and I don't, I'm not a amazing boss or I see myself as that, but I do like to connect with people. And so every week we have a weekly Zoom, and half the time it's just, I'm like, what's going on with the kids, and learn, that it's not even about the business and just holding that space. And
I guess they're on a inbound workload. So it's not like you are expecting them to grow sales. That's all on your shoulders.
Correct.
Right? So I would imagine there are certain roles that I feel like you just have higher expectations for.
Right. And even, our social media is not growing, but I don't view that it's not my sister's fault because I haven't equipped her with she's an amazing video editor and she did it before. She used to work for Discovery a long time ago. So she, knows that stuff, but I have not pushed or said, you need to learn how to grow the channel. Cause that's not even the role of social media for my business right now. It's more of a
show you're alive.
Yes. Like for people who are researching the product, it's like, oh, they're posting every day. They're getting engagement. People are posting testimonials. Like that's kind of the role now. It may switch later as I'm getting excited about some new relationship stuff that I might want to talk about or date night ideas and things. So then I will come back to social media and do that because it excites me. What helps is like they do the things that don't really excite me anymore. They did in the beginning. And then I kind of like checked the box and I was like, I need to do something else that's exciting inside this business. So let me go work on that and just kind of rotate around.
When you made those early hires, was there any fear or concerns about how their compensation changes like the P&L of the business? And like, because your business is incredibly seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
You have like 2 big seasons.
Yes.
And then very flat in between that. So,
right. It was not because I hired Sarah, my sister, during COVID, which is like my business was huge during then because of the nature of it's an at-home product and everybody's stuck at home. So, and I just thought of it was really like I was tired of posting. I was tired of doing all the customer support by myself. I was like, this is easily worth X salary. Like, I'm not even thinking about my sister. I'm like, I would totally pay this amount of money to not have to deal with any of this stuff again, And on top of that, I'd rather give it to my sister than someone I don't know.
Yeah. And then when it just slows down during the summer,
it's part of the perks of the job. She just gets to chill a little more, you know,
hang out with her family. So you don't like up her workload or change tasks.
No. And again, because I'm not like in this, maybe makes me a bad entrepreneur, but it's like, I'm not trying to 10X every month. I don't care. Like the business does very, very well. I have the lifestyle I want. Doesn't mean get complacent and do nothing, but we've had some big kills as far as if we're hunting and it's like, well, let's like just chill and enjoy that and then get back onto the hunt instead of just trying to graze in between. It's like, let's hunt and then let's rest and hunt and rest. And so I don't always stick to that, but I try to keep that mindset.
Yeah. I feel like one of the other things that you do well is you have side projects that aren't detrimental to your main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think a lot of entrepreneurs, having, going from February until December, you would tinker a lot and then just kind of implode the business. Whereas you I'm putting words in your mouth, but it seems like you occupy yourself through other endeavors.
Yep. Talk
a little bit about that and how your brain works to want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I always try to live by or aspire. I found it's helpful for me when I live by a theme of like follow the energy. So it's like do things that excite me. I love to learn. I love just trying new things. And that's how I got into show. I was running my marketing business before that, consulting Facebook ads, managing Google ads, all that. And then non-business, in my social life, I moved to Colorado and learned how to swing dance. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. And I already had the infrastructure of making videos because I had a fitness YouTube channel before that called Sparta Strength, which is still up, but it's dead. I just haven't posted to it in forever. But because I had that infrastructure of making videos, I was like, oh, let me just make some videos teaching some people how to dance. No business intention. It was just felt fun. Follow the energy. So did that.
Was that on YouTube?
That was on YouTube first.
So it's just organic.
It was just organic. And I don't know what it got to, maybe 30, 40,000 subscribers. And I always knew it's like, it's kind of niche. It's, it's not, that's why in my head, I was like, this isn't a business. This is just fun and sharing something I liked. And then Antonio was like, hey, you should like take some of those YouTube videos, grab a minute of them and throw it on Instagram. And this was like, 2017, 2018. I was like, okay, can't hurt. Did that. And then those posts got a lot of response and engagement. I was like, oh, cool. So now I have energy here. Like I'm excited. Let me make more posts. So I made more posts. And then I was like, oh, let me do like a full on shoot. So I hired a videographer and a photographer and got my friends and like found a really romantic kind of background for like a cinematic shoot, And so we did that and that content did well. And so then it was that feedback loop that gave me energy, new idea. People liked it, gave me energy, another new idea, and just kept following that loop. And it was for like a year and a half or 2 years where there was zero money in the future, I wasn't even thinking like, how am I going to make money with this? It was fun and people were liking it and I was having a good time. And because I had my marketing agency, I was covered with paying bills and stuff. And then eventually, turned a corner and I saw an opportunity to provide value to people. And thankfully they liked it. And so the business, Shore Off Dance, like blew up. And so now something, that I've been exploring is music and singing, because I'm like, oh, this is fun. And I mean, it's very hard because I have no musical background. I mean, I dance a little bit, but like I have no musical background at all. And there's just so much involved in like writing a song, getting it mixed, mastered, lyric, melody, and then singing and all the singing techniques. It's so not 80-20, or at least I haven't figured out the 80-20 of it yet. I know there's 80-20 in there somewhere. Song title is very important. That's at least one piece, and the chorus is very important. But yeah, so that's where I'll spend a lot of creative energy, and that can be recharging so that I'm not just focused on the business, for me anyways.
I think most of the people who listen to this show already have a business. But if anyone listens to this show, they don't have a business. I think there's a really important lesson in what Ryan just said, and that it should be easy, in the sense that you're passionate about, it's not quote unquote easy. It's still hard work to do what you're doing.
Right.
But you have this passion and this drive, and these wins, the wins almost come easy when things seem to work. And I would almost say, like, if you're not getting those in the early days,
it's a bad sign for me.
Yeah, to me, it's like, just can it. Like, don't invest too much into it, and then move on to be open to the next thing. And I think I'm very similar to you in that sense. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, you have to follow your passion. I know there's people who like that, people who don't, but it is, for me, it's like, would I do this for free because it's so fun? For me, that's kind of the litmus test. And sometimes you don't know, so you start doing it. There's things I've started, I'm like, yeah, this is so fun. Like the airsoft stuff, I played it and I still like it, but I was like, oh, I'm going to make a YouTube channel. I was doing all these 360 camera footage and it's cool. And then for some reason, I just kind of stopped. Like I just wasn't having fun or feeling the need. And that's okay. Like, so for now, that one's tabled. But if I'm having fun, like I did with show, like it just keeps going. And that's what I need in the beginning to keep going when I'm not getting money and there's no sight or idea of money on the horizon. And I think that's something that traps a lot of people who are starting, is they're like, well, I don't know how this idea is going to make money. And an alternative, I mean, there's so many ways, but an alternative way to think about it is there's something you can do or willing to do for free because it's fun. And can you build an audience of whatever, 10,000 to 20,000 people who follow and engage? Those are like the first two rings. Once you got that, then you're excited to make more stuff. Then the audience gets bigger and that keeps going. And then somewhere in there, as long as you're paying attention and listening, there will be an opportunity to make money because you got people who like you and like what you make. You can solve a problem for them and provide value.
Sometimes
to them.
they'll offer it too.
Yeah.
Or they'll just be like, hey, I want to buy this from you. Can you do it?
Right. Or can you teach me how you did this particular section of what you've been doing? It's like, oh yeah, let me make blueprints for you. Opportunities will be there if you do those first two things.
I mean, the other thing that's really interesting and great about your business that you alluded to is like you filmed in like Hawaii, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like you can take the show on the road, and you've even done that too. Like you just go to like clubs all around America
for filming, thankfully for being in Colorado, there's a lot of beautiful spots. So I'd get my friends and I'd take them in my Jeep and we'd drive up to the top of, 14,000 feet, top of the world, top of mountains, and have them dance on the skyline, just very, I was always, because the show is like a romance brand, that's what I'm looking for, is kind of like romantic, like cinematic landscapes in the background to just add that extra emotion.
Yeah. I mean, when I think of like my initial like DVD show her how to dance would be some like grungy looking studio from the 80s with some like socially awkward, weird dancer kind of people.
Right.
So it's like you come in with like just a completely different style than that. I assume that was, clearly that was intentional, but was it always like that? Or do you feel it was more of like, hey, just I posted that thing on Instagram and that's what hit?
Yeah, it wasn't until Instagram and it kind of took off with the old footage that I was like, oh, like, that creative feedback loop kicked in. I was like, oh, people like this. And I was like, oh, well, I want to make it like, I want to make it romantic and cinematic. And so I was like, well, need a nice backdrop. And the first set was like sunset during the shoot. So it was like golden hour and had, told the couples, like, here are the colors I want you guys to wear, the outfits mix and match, so that kind of pops, and just that kind of detail. And that was fun, you know.
I mean, how quickly, because if you're filming during sunset, the light is changing constantly as you go down. Like, and how are the courses set up? Is it like very instructor focused, or is it, hey, we're going to do this? I don't know. Walk me through like a little bit more of like how the educational aspect works.
The date night program, date night dancing. Yeah. So that's structured as a date night. That's the first and foremost what it is. And that came from jumping out, but that came from providing a service first, which was the romance tour, which I would do around the country. So me and my friends would go to wedding venues, prearranged, and we'd have the venue for the night. And then we'd sell tickets and couples would come. And we teach them 3 dance moves that they can mix and match and dance. And then if they wanted more one-on-one, we'd do that. But also, I would have a photographer there and a very nice backdrop for the couples to get their own selfie photo. And we'd pose them in like a nice dance photo so they, had something to remember it by. And then we'd have open dancing for the rest of the night. So it was just a fun, easy, kind of done-for-you date night. And doing that in person, they always sold out. And it kind of hit me when I was in Texas doing one outside of Dallas. And I was like, all right, what's the furthest somebody traveled to get here? And there was one couple that flew from California.
Oh, wow.
And the tickets were like $35 to, so they spent 10X to get there. And they went to both nights, which is just like a concert. It's the same show, because I would do 2 nights back to back, but it's the same show back to back. So they went both nights, had a blast. And then some other couple drove like 8 hours. I forget where they came from, but I was like, oh, okay. Like, if people are investing this kind of time to come, and it's always selling out, like, maybe you could turn this into something else. And so that's when I was like, let me turn this into a digital product. And I already had all, the structure and my cheesy jokes and stuff, because I'd done them live and I could, see what people responded to. And so just package that in the date night experience so that couples can go at their own pace. Because, it's called like, there are 3 different date nights, date night 1, 2, and 3. And date night 1 takes most couples, they tell me, 6 to 8 hours to get through it just one time. And then you still want to go back and learn. So there's multiple dates in there. So if you divide the price of the program divided by, how many dates you actually have, it's like less than $2 a date. Like, and then you have a skill that you can use for the rest of your life and instantly increases connection and chemistry,
I want to talk about that as well, because you're branching off of that. Like, how do you envision the future of the brand and how you continue to grow and provide offerings to your customers?
Yeah, I try to think from like kind of like what I've because I love to learn and try like all kinds of new things, and there's some people who don't like to do that, and that's fine. So it's like I view at a meta level as like, well, let me try all these things and make all these mistakes and find what's like really fun or helpful, and then share it with people who don't want to like have all that waste in their life or make all those mistakes. And so on the relationship side, I think just two people together, the biggest challenge I've heard from couples, and I've been with this myself, is like, just what do we do for date night? It's kind of like the Netflix, like there's so many options. What do we pick? And so I'm always thinking, how can I solve problems for them? So how can I make it, I guess the problem I'm thinking through is like, how can I make date nights easy, fun, and a no-brainer, to do it doesn't have to be at home, but obviously being at home makes it easier because you don't have to leave the house. You don't need a babysitter. So what's in their environment? How can I make it so that it feels fun? Like, I have to think about couples that have been together for 2 years, but also couples that have been together for 20 years. So like, what are activities, so just thinking through that. But the next step, of course, is not trying to think, for me, is not trying to think and come up with the perfect product. I got to just talk to my customers. And, one thing I may do is just schedule some calls and offer, free date night idea consultations or whatever. Let them tell me what their problems are. And then if I have enough of those calls, I might start to see like solutions or patterns that technology and the infrastructure I have can help make that easier for them.
I think that's a pretty interesting way to actually do it. I feel like most brands don't go through that effort of talking to their customers and getting a pulse for what they want or what they don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that's always been easy to you? I guess you're kind of like...
I think as a marketer, I've just trained myself to listen and look. And it's not just because they always say like, or you always hear like, oh, run a survey and like, what is their greatest problem and challenge? And I'm like, ugh. I mean, I did that a bunch. It's stupid. Yeah, like developing the skill to get people to talk to you, and then get them to open up a little bit to you, and then also listen to what's underneath what they're saying. And that's where you can spot the opportunities. If someone's like, well, I'm just going to talk to 100 customers. I mean, that is good. But if you have the expectation of they're going to tell me exactly what I need to make for them, it's like, that's not a good, I just don't think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
One thing I listened to, like in the beginning when I did the romance tours, I did them at country dance bars because they had a big dance floor, right? And I noticed, I was like, wow, so the bar would allow me to do the romance tour before like they opened to the public, say at 9 p.m. or whatever. So it was like an earlier date night. And I noticed that after I did the romance tour event at the bar, for example, the couples danced a little bit and then they all left. But I'm like, the bar's open till 1. I'm like, why are they all leaving? Oh, because they don't want to hang out at a bar. This is not where they want to be, and they want to just have fun together. So that's when I moved it to the wedding venues, and then also realized like my customers are not the people who go out dancing already to bars. They're the people who don't dance at all.
I want to loop back to your seasonality of your business, and I want you to share with our listeners what those mad weeks look like. I mean, it's essentially like 1 week, right? Before
the
Valentine's Day,
the week before Valentine's and the week before Christmas, it's 400% increase in business, so it's huge. But it's a huge surge on everything: customer support, Facebook ad management, all paid traffic ad management. So it is
like, how many hours are you putting in per day during those time periods?
I mean, during those time periods, I'm up at 7 and I'm going to bed at midnight. And for the most part, I'm on the computer all day. I call it my day trading hours. Just like, think like a day trader is but you're just doing the trades all day. And there's little breaks and breathers here in between. And then, this is where you get some camaraderie, like, cause it's my sister and my cousin. So we're talking or whatever. But because it's happened enough, I know it's like, I just got to get through this week. And, people are upset or whatever, because of whatever glitch, and it's the holidays. So they're extra stressed. So I have to have the emotional regulation. Like, we are not yelling at our customers, even though they're yelling at me, like, just judo that. This is an ability to train your patience and, turn angry customers are the ones you can turn into the happiest, not like I get a ton, but the ones you do get during those weeks, they're just not happy at all. And they want to make sure about it,
So are you primarily Meta, or are you doing Google?
Yeah, most of my spend is on Meta, Facebook. Yeah. I do want to branch out to the other channels and working on that for this season.
You think you'll be able to have because we talked about this before we hit record, like the different channels you're trying to get into. What do you think you're going to be able to add on to this season realistically?
It's tough to say. Yeah. I mean, the big, YouTube would be nice to crack, but it's like the offer has to be adjusted. So it's like this month, November, is my runway to try to tweak the offer and see if it can be compatible with YouTube platform in terms of getting conversions. And if not, then I'm not going to like 10x it in December. Another one that I'm trying right now is newsletter advertising, running ads in newsletters. So I'm using proven copy that has worked on Meta and just putting it in newsletters. And I have no idea if it'll work, but that's, with marketing, that's how it works. I know you don't like it, but in the beginning you just have to
lose money.
You just have to learn. I just call it learning. And also, like, I'm not doing this, but just for example, say it's like, all right, we're going to try 10 different channels. So $10,000, $1,000 to each channel. 9 of them, no results. Number 10, good results. Not crushing it. It certainly didn't recoup your 10K you just spent, but now you know a good channel and you can spend $500K behind it, with refinements. And like, now that initial 10K was no big deal at all,
right.
So
I want to, you have an incredible ability to spend a crap ton of money in a short period of time.
Mm-hmm. You mean personally or with my bit now?
Both, right? Mm-hmm. But with on Meta, like, what is the technical strategy for doing that? Like, how do you ramp up spend so much?
I mean,
in a short period of time? Because I hear it's like 20% a day, 20% a day.
Yeah.
But you're going 10x that.
Yeah. For those weeks, it is I use this strategy. It's called, use bid cap inside. This is very technical, but it's basically manual bidding inside of Facebook. And I bid way more than like I would quote technically want to pay. And that like pushes out other advertisers and puts me into the spots. And I know historically, and just from tracking my data so much, AKA, the day trading, like this is the time that I can do that. It's still always a gamble, but like, and it should pay off fine. But it's standing and refreshing analytics, refreshing Facebook ads, and checking Stripe, and just making sure everything's trending up.
Yeah.
And if it does start to drop or something, then immediately pull it down. But it's manual bidding inside of Facebook or bid cap that I've done to do that.
And you said it's way up. It's about twice what you normally do, or
I mean,
want to target.
It's usually like, in general, they say you want to, maybe do 1.5 times your CPA. So if your CPA was $100, you're bidding $150. During that week, I might do 3, 4, 5 times my CPA. I almost don't even care. I'll just put in like $500 just to get it rolling.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And then, like, have you seen it run away in a way that it just burned through a shit ton of money?
Yeah, one time, because I wasn't at the computer, like I went over to my neighbors. I think they wanted to give me a Christmas gift or something. I was like, okay. And I was checking the stats. I was like, things will be fine. I came back and it was a glitch on Facebook side. I know it was. Like, of course, they'll never admit it, whatever. But I don't remember details. All I know is it blew through 10K in an hour, and it was like 0 sales because something was wrong with the targeting or something. But it wasn't even supposed to. It shouldn't have even gone off. Yeah. But like, that's the danger of stepping away when you're doing this kind of stuff. Is like, and thankfully I caught it when it was 10K and not 100K, because that wouldn't have been fun. But
yeah, so there's like no like your total account spend for the day you'll set at.
I don't have a daily limit.
There's no,
so I guess I'm running a little risky there because during the that week, it's like there's chances. I mean, you could just spend 6 figures a day, and it's like we just don't want to get hamstrung by having a limit that then screws you.
So how quickly, like you set this bid cap at 5x what your normal CPA is, how quickly are you able to start seeing those results coming in? Like within 10 minutes?
Yeah, especially if you have it on accelerated delivery, which is, again, another tactical. Like campaigns either deliver standard, which is like spend this budget evenly throughout the day, or just spend it as fast as you can. So when you have accelerated plus high bid cap, then money is just like fire hose. It's going right into Zuckerberg's pocket.
Yeah. The first time you did that, walk me through your emotional thoughts and how you handled that.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know because I don't gamble, but it's got to feel like a rush, kind of like gambling, because you're like, and it's not like, say it was like you spend 10K in a day. It's never like I spent 10K in 1 minute, and then for the rest of the day, I hope that I make it back. It is spending, depending on the bid, what you're spending, like it's a high volume of money going out per hour, let's say. So let's just say you're spending $1,000 per hour. You can still check your stats of what revenue's coming in, and it's not real time, so that's where you got to be careful and feel it out. But you can get a sense of like, oh, I just spent $1,000 and I got $5 in sales.
Yeah.
Within these 2 hours, like something is wrong. So you can cut it now. Instead of spending all the rest of the money that day, you just stop or reset or scale it back. So it's not set in stone that I have to spend. But if you're not paying attention and you've got a bid up or something, like it does create the opportunity for a lot of money to just vanish.
Yeah. And then the days that you start doing that, is it based on, like in our world, like after the 20th, people stop ordering. It's like falls off a cliff. Mm-hmm. So are you like from the 20th through the 25th, I guess, really it's just like boom? Or do you see data coming in and you're like, okay, I know now it's time to ramp up that spend?
A little bit of both. I mean, because this is, it's been running for multiple years. I have historical days. It's like, okay, this is when things pick up. And so that'll be one part. But then there's the real-time data coming in because, I don't know, just because things were great last year or the year before doesn't mean this year, like who knows what could happen. So you start with like, this is the week to start ramping things up more. And then you just check in the stats real time. And then sometimes it's just a risk. It's like, let me just try and spend an extra 20K or whatever. And like, that's where
I got a bunch of money in the bank account.
Yeah. But it's, it is fun. I mean, it's stressful, but it's fun. That's why we do it.
Where can people buy your program, support you, reach out to you?
Sure. Yeah, you can go to showeroff.com. That has the information for getting the date night dancing program. At Showeroff Dance on Instagram, YouTube, all the channels. For we have tons of clips and content and stuff like that. And yeah.
Where do they listen to your music?
Oh yes, Hunter Masters on Spotify. If you just put that in there, I've got 11 songs out, I think, right now. And just like with dancing, like I'm still learning, so it's kind of embarrassing to share because I'm like, well, I'm not like that great yet. But like, I remember when I was learning how to dance in the beginning, I was so bad, but I would just see other guys. And I'm like, well, they're really good, and like they weren't born knowing how to do that. They just put in the work. And I believe it's the same with singing. Now, of course, there are people who are just have a talent or whatever, but I think anybody can become a decent singer and provide a good emotional experience in a song, which is not the same as being a technically good singer. Just like being a technically good dancer doesn't make you the best dancer to dance with. Like the girls generally care about who did I have the most fun with, which is not necessarily, as guys, that doesn't make sense. Well, if I did all the moves correctly, technically, I should be the most fun. And it's like, well, just listen to what that guy said. He doesn't sound like a fun guy to be with, So, but if it's like, hey, we're having fun doing this, so that's what I'm trying to figure out with singing. I haven't done it yet, so I don't even know if it's possible, but it is fun trying.
Sweet. Well, thanks for coming back on the show. This has been another e-commerce conversations. Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Keep on growing.